Hey everyone, my name is Sean and this is Sean Stocks. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to continue talking about the underdog, the lucky stock, the one and only CLOV, CLOV. Today was a bit of a crazy day. When you take a look at this stock, today was all over the place, right? All over the place. We had a pretty good high of the day, $8.41. We had a pretty low of the day, $8.09. And pretty much it was going everywhere in between that, right? And so, you take a look at this and you're just like, okay, where is this thing going to go? We go up, we go down, we go all over the place. Where is this thing going to go? Because it was not just 1 week ago. It was not just 1 week ago where we saw this stock go up to $11.13. Like a couple of weeks before that, we saw this thing go to like $10.15. It went down to $7.35, created like this cup and handle formation or something, right? Then went up, it seems like it's doing this great consolidation, just making sure, is this low enough? Is this price low enough? And you see all this great movement, you see everything like this, and you gotta wonder, is this still a good time to get in? Or, are we still, in a good spot? Should I continue? Should I wait for it to go lower? What should I do? And my answer is still really, really easy. What I am personally doing is that if it's under $8, that's a super buy for me. If it's anything over $8, that is a pretty good buy. 8 to 10, really. 8 to 10 is that buy range, right? And, I'm one of those people, if you have noticed, that talk about a good amount of stocks, but you got to remember that my very, very, very first videos on this entire channel was on Clover Health. That is exactly how we started all my videos that I made. I've made videos along the way and stuff that have been kind of like side quests of the main journey. But really, Clover Health has been kind of like the one that started it all for me. And you can watch that video, of course, on my channel still to this day, as well as my other videos. I'm not planning on taking down any of those other videos about other stocks as well, because at the end of the day, I want people to know that history and know when I talked about the stocks, because that's kind of important, right? Context is pretty important when you talk about these, because things changes. Like people, think like, geez, you talked about this stock, two months ago or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I did, right? And then the information changed on that stock, and now I'm no longer talking about the stock because maybe this channel is called Sean Stocks, and I have my money invested in whatever I talk about, right? And so the big thing, right, is that things can change really fast, on what I talk about and things like that. And at the end of the day, what I'm saying is really, and what I want everyone to keep in mind is what I'm saying is really just me just sharing my opinion on things. But you still need to make your own investing decisions. You need to be the one that calls the shots. I'm not going to call the ones for you. I'm not a financial advisor, but at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you what I'm personally doing, because hey, it's Sean Stocks. I can do whatever I want. So it's my channel, but I hope you all are enjoying this as I kind of like document my investing time and everything, and maybe give a few opinions along the way if you want to take them as well. But for me, when I take a look at this stock, of course, I'm still buying in. I'm still buying in this stock, and hopefully, and in a way, I kind of hope that it goes under the $8 range very, very soon. And I think keep on doing this, it stays flat for, or stays, consolidated and stuff like that, whatever, right? Around $8 for at least the next month. I want to see something big probably happen at the late October, early November at this point. I think that would be a really good spot. But some people look at this and they're here, for like the long run and everything like that. And I am definitely one of those people. I believe in the company in the long run. We see a lot of great things, 140% year over year. We see, them growing into different states, expanding the amount of the counties that they're in and stuff like that, right? And so you have a lot of expansion, you have a lot of growth, you have a lot of hyper growth. You get all these people on the board that had positions in previous companies that have that experience that could definitely help out this company grow. and you see all the potential that this stock has. So yeah, this week has been pretty red. It's been pretty red and really hasn't been doing much in terms of the news, but I just wanted to do a couple of recaps real quick about this stock. The first one, of course, is that $7. Is that $7 Cohen underperform, right? I did mention this in my other video, my previous video, so I do want to quickly talk about it again. I think that, they should explain why, because it makes exactly, literally no sense to me how this stock is going to be 1 year from now a $7 stock. If you have, more people on board, right, then why would it go down, right? If they have more lives under management, why would this thing go down? And that's kind of what this article talks about. Motley Fool. Okay, Motley Fool, I have some mixed feelings about it, but sometimes the facts that they put in their articles, I don't care about their opinions a lot, but sometimes the facts that they talk about can be pretty useful, just to key indicators. And this is their article, 3 reasons Clover Health is growing stock that could make you richer over the long term, right? I hope that is the same. I do believe, in that sense over time. Of course, I'm long on the stock, but I hope for the short-term potential of another squeeze, because we did see that go to $28.85. But this is Jason Hawthorne mentioning a couple of things that I want to, again, talk about real quick. The first thing is that the company is integrating its Clover Assistant tool in Athena Health's electronic health record system. That was last week on that announcement. Very, very good announcement to have, especially with their last month announcement that they announced the Clover Assistant could integrate all FHIR-enabled EHR that include a virtual duopoly of Epic and Cerner. So again, something like that would also be, again, very bullish. Again, they're not just staying on the sidelines and be like, oh, look at all the people that we have covered. They're actually making steps to expand their growth even past that, and really just focusing, again, more and more on that Clover Assistant and that AI and everything that comes with that Clover Assistant. One thing that they do mention that kind of stood out to me in this article, and another one of the reasons that I just really like the company overall, is saying this: one area where Clover has distinguished itself is in tackling some of the barriers to the most valuable populations in this country. At the end of 2019, about half the company's members identified themselves as minority. That's substantially higher than 30% industry average. So you really got to take a look at their mission, got to take a look what they stand for. They're doing great things. They're doing great growth. They really care about underserved seniors and people in this country that we are a part of. And, of course, well, not everyone. I know that there's other people that are outside of the United States. But again, of course, the company focuses right now on the United States. They talked about potentially expanding past that in the future, of course. But again, it's great to see what they are doing so far. It's great to have articles that talk about these facts and get those facts out to more people, because more people can invest in a company as good as Clover Health, in my opinion, right? Some other things that, that we love to talk about on this channel, or I like to talk about on this channel, is Ortex. We have the short interest data. And if you like this video so far, please smash that like button for me. And of course, subscribe and ring the bell so you can get notifications on my upcoming videos. So in Ortex, we can see that the short interest percentage of the free float is sitting at 14.08%. That's a 1.98% increase from the previous day. We also have the cost to borrow average sitting at 2.3%, cost to borrow max sitting at 2.32%, days to cover 1.21 days. That's a lot. That's a good amount of an increase from the previous. If you take a look at this little green line down here, it shows the days to cover as it's slowly getting more and more and more. And right now we're pretty high spot. The last time we were this high was actually in June. So the days to cover is increasing substantially for this stock. Maybe we'll see 2 days, 3 days, and it'll continue to build. Something big might be brewing along that front, right? Utilization, 85.05%. So again, still pretty high. We saw 90%. Hope it gets back to 90, 95, 99, 100% even for this stock as well. So, you take a look at this, that it's still being shorted. They still want to see this thing go down. And I just I don't know. I just don't get it. But, one thing that you want to keep in mind, is really that dollar cost averaging. As I said in my previous videos, what I said is basically that $8 to $10 is my buy range. Under $8 is my super buy range. Okay, right now we hit $8.09, getting very close to me trying to find a lot more money to plow into this stock as quickly as possible. Hopefully we see something big again. Like November, late October is kind of like my sweet spot this year of when I would like to see something big happen. But I'm still a patient person. You really can't rush things that are out of your control. So you just got to go with it, right? But of course, people, take a look at this Webull app position cost distribution. $17 is a lot of people, basically the average cost that people have $17.02. So again, if you're in that range, $13, $14, and you really want to lower your average, hey, right now is a really good spot. Look at that little amount of green underneath right there, and that right now we're in a pretty good spot for that. Of course, if you haven't checked this out, this is the Webull app. It has a comment section. It has sentiment on the stock, the news on the stock, talks about options, even the chart. And of course, you have the level 2s, which are not available because we're outside of regular market hours. But if you want to, you can get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300 by depositing any amount into Webull and opening an account, of course. So check out the link in the description or in the comment section to open up an account. I really do appreciate it. It helps out the channel. And hey, you get free stuff too. And you can use that money. To buy, sell your shares that you get for free and buy any stock you want. And I'm still hoping, that this thing goes up very, very, very soon. But let's go real quick though at the day. Let's quickly look at the day right here. Overall, we saw the high at $8.41. We saw the low $8.09. It was a pretty quick dip throughout the day, still staying basically below the volume weighted average price the entire day, except for at the beginning. At the beginning, we saw a lot of big movements. Going down to $8.17 and going up to $8.41 in a span of what, 20 minutes essentially. So if you were a day trader and like to do that, I'm not a day trader, but again, it seems like there's always good potential for the stock for day traders out there. So, overall, just fun things to see along the way. And, the volume for the day was at 18 million, where the average volume is at 36 million. So again, everything's dropping a little bit. The volume is going down. The average volume is, of course, decreasing as well. Let's take a look at the order flow. We've had a good amount of large scale orders, more inflow than outflow for the amount of large scale orders on the 9th, 10th, and 13th. And we saw 0 for the 14th. And we saw a little bit outflow more than inflow for today on the 15th. So I would say pretty good information to see. Again, we're hitting that little bit of compression right now with the price of people saying hey, this is still a really good price to get in. It's underneath the price targets. It's underneath the opening the list price for the stock as well. So why wouldn't you? And they have great news all the time. So why wouldn't you want to get in? And again, that's just my sentiment as well. But of course, what I have to say, of course, does matter a little bit, right? But of course, we want to see the Reddit trending stocks in the past 24 hours. And as you can see, Clover Health is number 8. It dropped down 3 spots for the day. We got GameStop, AMC, Alibaba, Palantir, Microsoft, Tesla, and S&P 500 way above there at number 1. Of course, everyone loves SPY. And so again, Clover Health is sitting at a really good spot. It's sitting at a spot that's kind of hey, we're going through a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of not much movement for a good amount of time, but we're still in a good spot that if there is a good amount of movement, people will catch up on it because we're continuing to have a voice about this stock that we are heavily invested in. And of course, we got nearby words like Wish, people saying it's a pump. I disagree entirely with that. GME, more holding, Bags, AMC, dump, IRNT, then calls up and more. So, but overall sentiment still pretty good, 68%. Another thing, of course, that I like to look at is the options activity for the stock on, let's see, this week right here. Let me move this over. We have 2.42 million bullish versus 304.96 thousand bearish. So you keep that in mind. Plus, you have a max pain price that is higher than the current price of the stock at $18.16. And you're like, okay, are we going to see again nearby that maximum pain for another week? We've seen that for many weeks in the before, like the stock pulling down, going up, getting as close as possible to that maximum pain. So hopefully we move up a little bit, but at the same time, I'm kind of indifferent. I'm kind of like, hey, the more it stays at these lower price, the more paychecks that it can put in at this lower price, and hopefully, the more money that I can make later on down the road. Okay, so at the end of the day, like, especially if you really are here for the long run, it's kind of nice. But even if you're here for the short run, maybe it's okay to be patient for, a month or two or something like that, right? To see this thing go up much higher, hopefully, right? We saw AMC go from, $19 in January to February or so, back down to $8, back down to $6, then going up to 72, and that's February, March, April, May, June, right? And so again, that's a good amount of time. If we do that same comparison, that's going to be June, July, August, September, October, basically October, November, if you were to see a similar timeline. So again, that community also had patience. I still believe that we can have patience, but also take the little bit of wins along the way as well, right? When we take a look, of course, at institutional ownership, I wanted to briefly touch on this. Institutional ownership right now, we have 199 total, and we have 167 long. People still believe in this stock in the long, 9 short, 23 mix, long short as well. But again, you got to take a look at it because stocks like these have beaten out the S&P 500, even beat out tech stocks as well, based off of the investor presentation that Clover Health had as well. We talked about in many different videos. You take that into consideration. You take in the consideration for my video on Motherball due diligence on the stock that I made many months ago, where I talked about Reddit user living it, price, basically where the price should be in the mid $20 range. I still think, we should be very much at least in $15 and higher, especially because people had the analysts had their price target, in that range before we saw Hindenburg, which basically there was a rebuttal line by line from Clover Health themselves on it, because at the end of the day, it's all just fluff, right? And so, based off of what they're saying, right? So again, it's really just stuff that you got to keep in mind. If you have a good conviction, if you have a good understanding of why you're invested, right? Of course, I talk about the stocks that I'm invested in. I have my conviction, right? But at the end of the day, you have to have your own opinion. I'm not going to be your financial advisor and say, hey, this is a big, huge suggestion that you have to do. I highly recommend it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, here's what I know about this. You can do it if you want, right? But you don't have to do it. But you want to be able to take in stuff that I say, do your own research on top of that, do your own due diligence is so important. Take that all into consideration and make your decision from there. So hopefully this helps at the very least. But last but not least, of course, we have our Reddit meme of the day. So you tell me you don't buy more when a stock goes down, right? So at the end of the day, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with something like this because, hey, if the stock is going up, if we're on a little bit of a bull run, let's say it goes to $9 or $10 next week or something, people are buying on the way up. Why would you want to continuously buy on the way up when you could buy when it doesn't make sense, but it goes down, right? So when something goes down and it doesn't make any sense at all, that's like, this is where we make money. When everyone gets fearful, that's where you get a little bit of extra money, put it in something that you believe in, And if it turns around, or when it turns around, right, then you can see some pretty good gains. That's how you make the big gains in the big world. So hopefully we see those very, very soon. We got 45.7 thousand members, by the way, in our CLOV subreddit. So make sure to check that out. I'm in the Discord and stuff like that. And of course, there's my Twitter right above me as well. So make sure to follow me on Twitter. But that's it for this video. If you like it, please, again, hit that smash that like button for me. And as always, hope you have a lucky trading day tomorrow, you lucky people. Take care. Bye-bye.